Look at your hands. Every line, every fingerprint, every cell. You probably think they belong to one species, Homo sapiens. But what if they don't? What if, hidden inside your DNA, are genetic instructions written by humans no scientist has ever seen? No skull, no bones, no fossils, nothing. Yet, they never truly disappeared, because part of them is still alive, inside you. For decades, scientists believed they understood our family tree. There was us, the Neanderthals, the Denisovans, 3 ancient human groups, and the story was complete. Then, in July 2026, everything changed. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley developed a revolutionary technique called trace. They weren't searching caves. They weren't digging for fossils. Instead, they searched the DNA of living people, and buried inside our genomes, they found evidence of 2 unknown human lineages that had never been identified before. Scientists call them ghost ancestors. One appears to have left DNA in nearly every modern human population on Earth. The other may have split from our family almost 1.8 million years ago. But here's the mystery. How do you discover an ancient human who never left a single confirmed fossil behind? The answer won't be found underground. It's already hiding inside you. Let's begin. For most of the last century, human evolution looked simple. Textbooks showed a family tree with one clear path. At the top stood Homo sapiens. The others, Neanderthals, Denisovans. They were treated as distant relatives that eventually disappeared. Or so we thought. Everything changed in 2010. Scientists successfully decoded the Neanderthal genome. The results were astonishing. People with ancestry outside Africa still carry about 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA today. Our ancestors hadn't simply replaced them. They had children together. Then came another surprise. A tiny finger bone discovered in Denisova cave revealed an entirely new human group, the Denisovans. They left behind very few fossils. Yet their DNA still survives in millions of people today, especially across Asia and Oceania. Suddenly, human evolution wasn't a straight line anymore. It looked more like a web. Different human groups met, separated, and met again. Scientists believed they had finally solved the mystery. Neanderthals explained one part. Denisovans explained another. The human family seemed complete, until researchers noticed something that didn't belong. Scattered across modern human DNA were ancient genetic fragments. Fragments that matched neither Neanderthals nor Denisovans. At first, many assumed they were errors. Maybe damaged DNA. Maybe faulty computer models. But no matter how many times scientists checked, the mysterious signal remained. It was real. Remember the ghost from our opening? This was the first evidence that it existed. But without a fossil, without ancient DNA, how could anyone possibly prove who or what it came from? The answer would require scientists to stop searching the past and start searching the people alive today. For decades, ancient human discoveries followed the same pattern. First, find a fossil, then extract its DNA. That's how scientists uncovered the stories of Neanderthals and Denisovans. But this mystery was different. What if an ancient human population never left behind a well-preserved skeleton? Or what if their bones simply haven't been found? In warm climates like Africa, DNA breaks down quickly. After hundreds of thousands of years, it often disappears completely. An entire branch of humanity could have existed, mixed with our ancestors, and vanished without leaving a single readable genome. For years, that made the mystery seem impossible to solve. Then in July 2026, researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, working with collaborators, asked a completely different question. What if the evidence was never underground? What if it had been carried through generations, inside living people? To test that idea, they built a powerful computational method called trace. Instead of comparing ancient bones, trace compared the genomes of 503 people from the 1000 Genomes Project. It followed tiny inherited DNA segments backward through time, reconstructing ancient family relationships without needing a fossil. The first test was simple. Could trace find Neanderthal DNA? Yes. Could it identify Denisovan ancestry? again. Yes, the method worked exactly as expected. But then something unexpected happened. Trace found ancient DNA that matched neither Neanderthals nor Denisovans. The researchers checked the results again and again. The same mysterious genetic signatures kept appearing. This wasn't random noise. It was evidence. Evidence that two unknown human lineages had left traces inside our DNA. Remember the ghost we started searching for? It finally had a genetic fingerprint. But its identity was still a complete mystery. The first discovery changed everything. According to the Berkeley team's analysis, one unknown human lineage didn't leave its DNA in just one region of the world. It left it almost everywhere. Africans, Europeans, Asians, people from the Americas. No matter where researchers looked, the same ancient genetic signal kept appearing. Scientists estimate this mysterious lineage contributed roughly 0.5% to 1% of the modern human genome. That may sound tiny, but in evolution, it's enormous. For comparison, it's on the same scale as the Neanderthal ancestry carried by many non-African populations. The biggest surprise wasn't how much DNA it left behind. It was when it entered our family. The evidence suggests this ghost population interbred with the ancestors of modern humans in Africa, before the Great Migration that spread Homo sapiens across the rest of the world. That explains why its genetic fingerprint appears across nearly every population studied today. But the mystery goes even deeper. By comparing genetic differences over time, researchers estimate this lineage split from our ancestors around 800,000 years ago. That's roughly the same era when the ancestors of Neanderthals and Denisovans were beginning their own separate journeys. Imagine meeting distant relatives after hundreds of thousands of years apart. Then imagine that meeting leaving a mark, still visible inside billions of people today. Remember the question from the beginning? How do you find a human who left no bones behind? This ghost never needed a fossil. It left something far harder to erase. A living genetic signature, passed from parents to children, across thousands of generations. For the first time, scientists knew the ghost was real. But just as they began to understand this forgotten branch of humanity, Trace uncovered something even more unbelievable. Hidden inside another extinct human lineage was the DNA of a ghost, even older than the first. Just when scientists thought they had solved the mystery, the DNA revealed an even older one. The first ghost ancestor was astonishing, but it wasn't the oldest hidden relative in our family. There was another, one that had remained invisible for nearly 2 million years. The clue came from people living in Oceania, where Denisovan ancestry is especially common. When the Berkeley team analyzed these genomes with Trace, they noticed something extraordinary. Hidden inside the Denisovan DNA were fragments that didn't belong to Denisovans at all. It was ancient DNA, buried inside even older ancient DNA, like discovering a forgotten book, hidden inside another forgotten book. The researchers called this lineage the super-archaic ancestor. Based on their analysis, this population split from our family tree around 1.8 million years ago. That's long before modern humans, long before Neanderthals, and long before Denisovans. Yet somehow, its genetic legacy survived. Not directly, but through a remarkable chain of inheritance. First, this unknown population interbred with the Denisovans. Then tens of thousands of years later, Denisovans interbred with Homo sapiens. That means a tiny piece of this super-archaic lineage was passed from one extinct human group to another, and finally, to us. Think about that. Your DNA may contain fragments of a population that began evolving separately nearly 1.8 million years ago. No confirmed fossil has ever been linked to them. No complete genome has ever been recovered. Everything we know comes from the genetic clues they unknowingly passed forward through time. Remember the ghost from our opening? Now there were two. One hidden in almost every human alive, and another hidden inside the first. If human evolution could hide two entire lineages, one question becomes impossible to ignore. How many more are still waiting to be discovered? For more than 100 years, human evolution was drawn as a tree. One trunk, a few branches, and at the very top, us. It looks simple, but nature rarely is. The Berkeley discovery reveals something far more extraordinary. Our past isn't a tree. It's a web. For hundreds of thousands of years, different human populations met, separated, migrated, and met again. Every encounter left behind tiny pieces of DNA. Most of those people disappeared. Their languages vanished. Their cultures were forgotten. Their bones may never be found, but their genes survived. The researchers also found that some of these ghost-derived DNA segments appear in regions linked to immune function and metabolism. In other words, these ancient encounters may not have been random. They may have helped our ancestors survive new diseases, new climates, and new environments. The people history forgot may have quietly helped shape the people reading history today. And this may be only the beginning. As more genomes are sequenced, especially from regions that have been underrepresented in genetic research, scientists expect to uncover even more hidden branches of our family, which means the greatest discoveries in human evolution may no longer come from the next fossil. They may come from the next genome. Now, think back to the very first question I asked. How do you find a human who left no bones, no skull, and no fossil? The answer isn't buried beneath the ground. It's reflected in the mirror. Every cell in your body carries echoes of people whose names we'll probably never know. They built no monuments. They wrote no history books. Yet they never truly disappeared, because part of them became you. The greatest archaeological site on Earth isn't hidden beneath deserts or locked inside ancient caves. It's encoded inside your DNA. And if scientists found 2 ghost lineages hiding there in 2026, imagine what they might discover next. How many more forgotten ancestors are still waiting inside us?